So we begin. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, welcome back. Another time today to just go through what's been happening. It's a good weekend. I can say that for sure. Um, and I think it's a quiet one also. That being said, I just have some catch up news to go through today. I also have some other things to talk about. Yesterday, it was quite good. Spoke about the trending news about Christianity under attack in Nigeria, and not only in Nigeria, even all over the world. And yeah, that was well received. Today, there's a lot of development that has happened, and I'm kind of want to dwell on that. So the first story I want to talk about is ATIKU. When that news came out, that ATIKU said was going to step down. I said that was a lie. No, that's not possible. Number one, ATIKU has been obsessed and fixated on this presidency thing. He believes that it is his right to be the president of Nigeria. So much so that he feels that he needs to prove to Obasanjo that, Obasanjo, you know what? You don't hold the card on my political career. Because really, the whole agreement The gentleman agreement was that, Obasanjo will be president for 8 years, and thereafter, give it over to possibly ATIKU. People saw ATIKU as the president apparent. But then they fell out. There was a falling apart. ATIKU was corrupt. There was a lot of issues, that would definitely have impacted him becoming the president after Obasanjo. So Obasanjo did him dirty. And since then, he has never really forgiven Obasanjo. He has never even forgiven himself. Because really, we should have actually had a President ATIKU in his first term, after Obasanjo's first term. So there was a plan by ATIKU and his group in the PDP to take Obasanjo out after his first term presidency. A lot of governors were on his side. And he was bent on making sure that Obasanjo only did one term. Now, you know what happened? Obasanjo had to go. Now, there's reports that Obasanjo had to go beg him. That Obasanjo prostrated to him. Now, I can verify if that happened or not. But there's reports that Obasanjo actually went to ATIKU and prostrated and said, please, let me do the second term. Mind you, the reason was that Obasanjo was just coming out of prison. He had no structure. He had no money. He had no goodwill. So ATIKU had funded Obasanjo's campaign prior to 1999 elections. ATIKU, Babangida, and all those, guys funded the PDP. So it was actually, in that vein that he felt that I actually formed this party. And that also explains why, more often than not, when it goes for the presidential primaries under PDP, he always gets the ticket, even though just a few months ago, it was with another party. It was with ACN at some time. It was with APC at a point in time. So because he actually funded the PDP. But now, Wike is in there now, and the old formula is just in shambles. So based on that, he believed that he was meant to be the next president after Obasanjo. So before Obasanjo finished his first term, he planned with some PDP governors to take out Obasanjo. And he almost succeeded. And Obasanjo had to go, according to news story. Unfortunately, we were not in the age of social media then. I think a good camera, a good video would have helped. Now, Obasanjo prostrated and said, ATIKU, please, let me do this second term. And Obasanjo is not an easy person. I think that was why Obasanjo made sure that, I'm going to do this second term. But after that, I will make sure that ATIKU, that you don't ever become the president of Nigeria. And he has been doing that right from that time. So when it was time for you to go back to the north, he went to bring Yar'Adua. I don't know if that was a good decision, but he went to bring Yar'Adua. And then what happened after that? After Yar'Adua, he brought Goodluck Jonathan. After Goodluck Jonathan, he had a falling out with Goodluck Jonathan. Even at that, he will still not support ATIKU. This last election, he was more in favor of having Obi to be the president than ATIKU. So there's still that rivalry between ATIKU and Obasanjo. So again, ATIKU stepping down for Obasanjo's second term was his own decision. And the thing about Nigerian presidency is this: once you miss it once, forget about it. It's over. So whatever ATIKU is trying to do right now, trying to see if he can actually become the president and all of those, I'm not sure if it's going to work. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if it's going to work. And again, that's just the reality. His own time is over. So the best thing he could do is just to leave the race. But I know he's not going to do that. So that's why he came back to tell people that, even though I said I'm going to step down for whoever wins the primaries, which I know Obi is not going to win the primaries anyways, because Obi can't compete with those guys. Obi is not even a PDP, he's not an ADC member as we speak right now. and Obi does not have any structure behind him in ADC, his LP structure, is not solid, even though he's still going to, if he wants to run for presidency under the LP, he has it hands down. But then it doesn't have that structural backing. There's a lot of, backlash in the LP. There's a lot of conflict happening right now in LP. So you have all of that. So ATIKU has now said, you know what? I'm in that race. I'm not stepping down. So this was October 2nd. He came back and said, no, I never said that. I never said I was going to leave the race. I'm still in the race. And we'll see how that goes. But for me, I believe that ADC without Obi, ADC without a viable opposition, without a viable war chest to counteract PDP is going to be a big problem for them. Yeah, because APC has already consolidated all its wins. Okay? And they've done that. So it becomes difficult. It becomes so difficult that, having had all those, successive wins, you have a lot of PDP governors coming back to join APC, and even other parties also joining the APC. It becomes very difficult, for you to go into 2027 with 4 or 3 different opposition parties. You have LP, you have PDP, you have ADC. And PDP has made it known that they're not joining the ADC. So they're moving on with their own plans. So I don't know how that will work for Obi. But again, that's that about that. Let me see this. So this is George Akume. All those people hanging around about coming in to rescue Nigeria, which Nigeria, if Peter Obi could not rescue Anambra, is talking about rescuing 36 states and Abuja. Let me see this one.
He's a Muslim. Already said. It's like differences without division, rivalry in fellowship. We love this country, and we have to borrow from the example of Mr. President. He's a Muslim. He's at home with all of us, Christian, Muslims, traditionalists. Nigeria is a huge country on the move, and under his direction, we know that we are going to reach the promised land. I know he inherited a very bad economy. We're out of it today. Our GDP is growing at 4.4%. It's a record. And what you have in our foreign reserve is also a record, from 0 to $42 billion. What is people who are hanging around talking about coming to rescue Nigeria? Which Nigeria? If Peter Obi could not rescue Anambra, he's talking about rescue 36 states and Abuja. All these other people, I don't want to mention their names. They came, they saw, they didn't conquer, even in their states. I think you are a journalist, and you also have to ask questions. I know what the federal government is doing, and you should also be interested in what is taking place in the sub-nationalities as well.
Yeah, so it's talking about subnationality, and I'm so happy right now because attention is beginning to shift. Because right now, if only thing you do and the only thing you talk about is about how the presidency is bad, and you close your eyes to the governorship, you close your eyes to the local government level, or local governance in your own locality, then there's a big problem. So I love how people are now beginning to ask questions. Okay, this was what was your allocation 3 years ago. Now you're collecting ×3, at times even above ×3. What are you doing with that? Where are the hospitals? Where are the hospitals? Where are the healthcare centers for the local government? At least each local government should have a robust healthcare center. That's the minimum. For the states, what are you doing to the schools? So those are the questions that should be coming out now. That doesn't mean you shouldn't criticize the Tinubu's government. I still criticize them when it comes to security, because that's on their exclusive list. And the result on ground does not even suggest that we're out of the woods when it comes to security. So again, it is what it is. Yeah. Question your governor, question your local government chairman, question your House of Rep member, question your senator, and then also question the presidency. That's how it works. But the problem is people are so fixated on this one man that they close their eyes to the irregularities and the problems that they have in their own state, which is really ridiculous.
All we want to say, and rightly and correctly too, is that we are on the right track. We are being celebrated because we are doing the right thing under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The signs are already there. We're coming up. We're coming up and strong and solid.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We're coming up strong and solid. I would see what happens. I'm not stepping down for anybody. ATIKU. His Excellency Waziri reportedly said he will step aside if a younger candidate wins the primaries. This is Senator Sheung Soni. The key word here is primaries. It is easier for camel to pass through the hole of a needle than to beat the Waziris in primaries. Okay. Yeah, this is a word from the scripture. But it's okay. Party delegates are a special breed of people. Yeah. And that's why I wish that the party politics in Nigeria changes. And again, when what's it called? When Obi won, I felt that it would have beamed more light on the party politics happening in this country. And this is what I mean. I mean, it would have, one way or the other, try as much as possible to get people involved in what is happening at his party, Labour Party. Seriously, I felt like it would have said, oh, now it's time to take over this party. Build your chapter. Instead of that, he focused not to do that. And now he's really paying a serious price for that. He might end up being one of the most famous failed politicians in the history of Nigeria. And it's not that I'm trying to say Obi is not, a good person or is a bad person. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that he had the LP under lockdown. Immediately after 2023, there was nobody that could look Obi in the eye. Nobody could look Obi in the eye after the 2023 elections in Labour Party and even in some other parties. And what happened? Indecisiveness. And that was what Kenneth Okonkwo said yesterday. You know what? I told Obi it's over because I don't see a pathway here. And people were watching, people were interested in what was going to happen to the Labour Party. But right now, I don't even know what's happening there. I don't know if you know, but I don't know what's happening there. So again, that's it about that. I think he's not stepping down. I'm sorry. Hopefully, there'll be a better strategy to sort things out. So this is Shehu Soni saying, you know what, ATIKU is locked in for 2027. So right now, I'm going to start doing a permutation. And trust me, I get a lot of things right. I get some things wrong, but I get a lot of things right. I'm going to start doing a permutation on the likely candidates. So right now, Tinubu is running. ATIKU is running. I'm 80% sure that Obi is going to run. I still don't know which platform. I still don't know because PDP is also open. Mind you, PDP has said, come here and we're going to give you the presidency. So will PDP and LP kind of work on something together? Because it's even going to be so difficult for Obedience to stomach Peter Obi running with ATIKU. Seriously. I know they will want to say, oh, no. Aisha will say, no, you need people to win presidency and all of those. No, it's going to be difficult for an Obedience to come and tell me that their whole aim was to stamp out corruption and then see them running with an ATIKU. So all it's worth, Obedience are fine with Obi running for presidency and losing than to see him run with ATIKU. What they want for ATIKU is for ATIKU to step down for Obi, and I said that yesterday, that's not going to happen. Number one, it's not going to happen because based on principle, What has Obi done for ATIKU? No. You think about Nigerians. Okay, it doesn't work that way, bro. Number two, what sacrifice has Obi made? ATIKU has made more sacrifice for Obi than Obi has done for ATIKU. So on a national level, Obi doesn't have the right to tell ATIKU to step down for him, and he knows that. And that's why he goes about saying, I'll just do one term. You do one term because you don't know what it takes to change the whole country. Nigeria, one time is not enough. I'm willing to step down from So again, that was a fake news by ATIKU saying that he's going to step down, but he's not, because he knows. Well, I met Tinubu. So this guy is an ADC guy, I believe. Well, Tinubu does not want to face ATIKU in 2027. He did face him in 2023. What are you talking about? Who has to face than ATIKU and Obi separately? If they come together, maybe that's when you're going to talk, but they're not going to come together. So look at what he's saying. Bola Tinubu does not want to face ATIKU Abubakar in 2027 election. Do you think Tinubu is scared of an ATIKU in an ADC? Not even a PDP. I would say Tinubu might be a little bit concerned if the coalition worked. That is no ADC, but you have, PDP, you have LP, you have SDP, and maybe Showore's party. And you have Showore's party at least to carry the, what's it called again? To carry them across the gate. So Bola Tinubu Ahmed Tinubu is not afraid of facing ATIKU. Presidential aspirants do not want to face ATIKU Abubakar in 2026 presidential primaries. The reason is straightforward. They seek an easier contest. If ATIKU Abubakar fails to secure ADC ticket, Bola Tinubu may not even feel compelled to campaign extensively. Bola Tinubu, I don't understand what you're talking about. If ATIKU fails, ATIKU will not fail to secure ADC ticket because ADC is ATIKU's baby. ADC is ATIKU's baby. Like, how do you even explain it? ADC was created for ATIKU, not for Obi, and not for Nigerians, not to help Nigerians. So don't let's get it twisted. Don't come here and say, oh, this and that. No. ADC was created by ATIKU and it was El-Rufai. El-Rufai was the one, I believe, that started all of this. And El-Rufai advised ATIKU wrongly to step out of the PDP. That was the biggest miscalculation in political history that I've ever seen in Nigeria. You left PDP where you have gone. Oh, you could say, oh, there were internal issues. There are internal issues in ADC right now, okay? If you don't know. Because the presidential candidate of ADC in 2023 says he doesn't even know why ATIKU was given a free rein in that party. And I still wants to contest. There was this big pile of petition written to INEC, and I'm not sure if there's still court cases. Dumebi Kachiku said he doesn't even recognize this so-called ADC coalition. The one House of Rep member says he doesn't even recognize them. That's the person officially sitting in the National Assembly. So I don't know who the hell went to tell ATIKU that, the good idea is that leave the PDP's problem and then jump to one sinking ship, which is called the ADC. Where are the governors? Where are the local government chairmen? And that was why, remember this, they had to tell Peter Obi that join ADC now or else the door is closed. Why are they running to tell Obi to join them? Why? Because they know that they don't have any foot to stand on right now. They've not won any seats. They don't have any plan. I mean, we're almost in 2026. So 1 year to elections, ADC has not even formed any, they've not formed committees, subcommittees, state ESCOs. How would they do it? I'm not even sure they're going to have polling agents across all boards in 2027. I'm serious. That was a very, very, I don't even know. It was a woeful decision for ATIKU to have left PDP. I mean, the party that he formed in 1999. Again, I'm saying that was a very, very wrong move. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And for all intents and purposes, I feel that right now, for the coalition to work, something has to give. Something has to give. Maybe a cooler head would do, but again, APC is consolidating, and these guys are just moving here and there, and that's it. I had to tell, but if ATIKU remained in PDP from his days as the vice president through 2015, we may be referring to him as former president. Love him or not, Tinubu played a long game with APC. He got the calculation right. Okay, that's this guy. Yeah. Okay, if he was in the PDP, maybe. I mean, the guy has moved, but the 99 time he's still going to move again. Hopefully, let's see how it happens. And now he's saying I won't step down. Okay, that's fine. I don't know how the Obedience are taking it, but this is it. So you have this guy here. I'm not a fan, but he has something to say. Because I believe David Udenyi is primarily PDP before LP. That's me. I believe he rolls with the PDP guys more. Forget about all these investigative journalists and all that. I mean, it's for those that don't really know how to reason and think. This guy is a partisan guy. He's 100% partisan. I believe he rolls more with PDP. He rolls more with the PDP guys. Then again, because, his followers are mostly obedient, so he's going to kind of give them the respect. But he rolls more with the PDP guys. He says, that APC fellows, that's what he said. APC fellows who said obedience create a scenario inside their head and then start rejoicing over the imaginary scenario was unfortunately not wrong at all. Why is he saying that? This is why I've been spending less time here of recent. You people are so depressing. Talking to obedience. This is obedience versus David Udenyi's clash. His reply to this lady, I don't know, first ladyship, she's an obedient. He's saying, Senator Ted Cruz is no paperweight. The APC should be worried if they aren't already. At the last count, Andrew Scheer, Pierre Polyev, and other influential figures have added their voice to the killing of Christians in Nigeria. Yeah, we know that. So what's happening? The media in America and the UK are awash with the news. And these are early days. Europe and America have caught wind of the situation. Things are shaping up to become a global movement. The APC cannot handle the fire. Local propagandists are ill-equipped for what's coming. Again, whatever he's talking about here, talking about, that the U.S. is going to intervene in the issue, I believe that the security issues should be tackled. I've said it here again, but the 1,000th time, that security issues in Nigeria is a big problem. And I'm giving Tinubu a 0 on security issues. And I won't deny the fact, because I feel that you should take an holistic approach. Not you trying to stem out candidates in the Northeast and the Northwest or wherever they are in the North, and then they're coming to Kwara, North Central, very close to the Southwest, and then there's kidnappings, and then there's armed robbery and all that. There's no place that is 100% safe, but we can know if security is improving in some parts. Look at what's happening in the Southeast. I don't care who they vote for. I don't care if the Southeast gives Tinubu 0 votes. As long as they're part of the Federation, I want to see peace there. And that's primarily, I know people say, oh, what are the governors doing? What are the chiefs doing? What are the kings and the Obis and all that? What are they doing in the Southeast? They can do whatever they want to do. As far as you're the president, it's your duty to ensure that there is peace there. And as long as you've not given them the police, I know you give them security votes and all that, they need to bring in peace there. But again, I digress. So we'll see what happens with Peter Obi. We'll be watching. This guy says, I look at the whole opposition movement in Nigeria and I just shake my head. They're not interested in challenging the root cause of their problem. They are comfortable in repeating fruitless journey. If you point out that certain things they do are a waste of time and counterproductive, they will label you, I too know, and they ask you to come save them if you think you have a better idea. But again, it is what it is. Okay, yeah, this one is there. I'm not stepping down. Yeah, it's not going to step down. Let me see if I can watch 1 or 2 other things to see what's happening. Okay, this guy, it does a good analysis.
I am not stepping down for anybody, ATIKU. You don't see her? I know the talk and sis. I have done series of videos on
Everybody that knows what's happening knows that he's not going to step down. Kwakwaso is also there. And Kwakwaso is going to back Tinubu. See, this guy is saying Kwakwaso backs Tinubu. Kwakwaso was never going to back a northerner. Because right now, let me tell you what's happening in the north. For those of you who don't understand how the dynamics work. People think because ATIKU is a northerner, he's going to just get a free bulk of votes in the north. You're going to have people vote for him because he's a northerner. I'm not disputing that fact at all. But this is what's happening. Buhari, before he died, was the what? Was a defunct leader of the North. Buhari was number one. No rival. No rival. Buhari was like, wherever Buhari goes, the North goes. Even when he had no party, once he shows up, he had all those bulk votes, but he couldn't win until Tinubu went to help him. Now, this is what's going to happen. The North really wants to, like, you know, decide who is the person that they can look up to as the northerner, as their leader. Kwakwaso will never support a northerner, ATIKU, to become the default leader of the North. Because right now, if you want to rate leadership in the North, Kwakwaso stands tall above everyone. So I'll take a Kwakwaso in the North because this guy has a movement that is really, really crazy. Kwakwasia movement is badass crazy. I don't even think there's any other politician in Nigeria that has that massive focused movement. So and those guys, you know, they have the influence, they're in Kano, so they are kind of, you know, yeah, they don't know that this guy is it. Not just today, I was seeing him, I think he was distributing some gift again, you know, to some people in Kano. So the guy is active. So he would not support an ATIKU. Why would he support an ATIKU to make an ATIKU the defunct leader after Buhari? No. So he would rather play the game and see, how do I consolidate my powers? So when you take Kwankwaso, then maybe you can talk about other people. Then you have the kings, who on a normal day, they try to be neutral when it comes to politics. And that's why it was an easy question. I knew that Kwankwaso would back Tinubu eventually. Even if he runs for presidency, it's just in a disguise just to break the power and the wings of ATIKU.
This matter because me, I know they like me the deceive person. Me, I know they like me the confused person. I know they like me something they too conk. I like to break out now. When I see misery, people are a bit confused. If you go to my channel now, my YouTube channel, where I post every day, you can see if you type ATIKU, when you get to my channel first, then you put ATIKU. See, 2027, Kwankwaso backs Tinubu, ATIKU exposed.
ATIKU, yeah. So at times I kind of get where this guy comes from. At times he tries to play it safe with the obedience. But again, that's fine. Would you support, would you still support Peter Obi if he agrees to be ATIKU's running mate? Well, anyway, 6 months ago, that's fine. And then let's see.
Outside service. He, however, said it was misrepresented by section of the media, which interpreted it as saying he will step down.
Okay, we've seen that one too.
Not going for a normal primaries, but the one.
Obi won't join dollarized primaries. Obi then replies, "Okay, well, that's a good thing, but then how does it become the president?" And again, people will be like, "Oh, no. Okay, the thing is this: I know people are calling for revolution, one way or the other, which is fine. But then the truth is this: revolution would not help Nigeria. It won't." Because we are divided across ethnic and religious lines. So no matter what the revolution is that you're trying to preach, at some point, it will be taken as an onslaught against another group or another set of individuals or another set of tribes. And that's why I don't really support that. Let me see if there's still anything.
Dollarized, not just a primaries, okay? Waiting obedience, they talk now. Now, thank you. They talk so. It talks I can say it authoritatively that an Obi will never go into a primary election where he has to buy out the delegates. We know that.
Okay, yeah. So in terms of going to primary election to buy out delegate, we already have a good example of that, where this guy spent $0 to buy delegates in the last APC primaries. After paying $100 million for the presidential form. And we know he didn't pay a dime. I can say that authoritatively. You know what he got in the primaries? 0. 0. And that was Pastor Tude Bakare. He didn't pay anybody. He didn't bribe anybody. You know what he got? 0. Just saying. That's the reality on ground. Okay?
All the movement handing over the keys to people and waiting for the right time to strike using those he has helped. You say that person resemble ATIKU for your eyes. All this why? What is smoke? You cannot do this.
Okay, so that's that about that. That's his own point. Let me see. Okay, so
and some of
that's that with ATIKU. We're gonna be watching and see how things will work and how things will go. But that's that about that. There's this news here that I want to talk about. So for whatever reason, Jonathan is back in the news. This guy is just like appearing in my field almost every other day now. If he's not talking about how they did him dirty in 2015, he's talking about how politicians, are this and that. They're talking about him coming back, which is not going to happen. He's not going to come. He's not going to run for anything. Let's forget about that. He's not going to run. I mean, if he runs for anything in 2027, is him running to Patience Jonathan. Jonathan is not running for anything. But if people are dragging him out and calling him out and trying to give him free hair time and free airwaves, of course, he's going to use it. And that's what is happening. This guy is almost like, he's now almost everywhere, even more than the president. And it sees that, again, it comes out to talk about how they abandoned him, how the U.S. was against him in his presidency. Bro, you were the president, okay? People voted for you. And that's why when people said, Tinubu said, if Trump does this, he's going to do that and strike back. And people are like, don't you know, you don't know who U.S. is. What the hell, who is U.S.? This is Nigeria. We're an independent country. Although we're not going to go to fight with the United States anyways. But I'm just saying that you should be able to stand your ground on things and not let someone bamboozle you. And that's why I like the way Tinubu responds to Trump. I like both of them. I like Trump. I like Tinubu. I like the way he responds to him. And I like Trump will always care about his own America. Tinubu should care about his own Nigeria. So when USA does this, he also does that. And then they say, okay, cool, fine. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, will say, okay, hey, we're going to reduce this. We're going to reduce. No, that's how it should be. But again, I digress. So Jonathan is saying, I will die with scars of the Chibok girls. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That was the biggest blunder of your presidency. Not being able to tame Boko Haram. And again, I'm seeing Obasanjo also granting interview everywhere, talking about how his third time didn't go, that he had nothing to do with it, blah, blah, blah. But let's look at what Jonathan has to say.
Thank you so much. I will not go through a lengthy protocol because of the time, but there are some few people that we need to recognize. Let me sincerely appreciate our president being represented by the Minister of Defense. Let me appreciate the chairman of this occasion, our daddy, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. Let me also appreciate the person who brought us here and the wife, General Irabo. Thank you for gathering us to celebrate this book. The keynote speaker, let us appreciate the former NSA.
We keep appreciating
members of the National Scene, to the chairman who listened to the book reviewer who listened to the former NSA. So I don't really have politics with military. After leaving office, when I was in office, I thought that the military services don't play unnecessary politics. Well, we know there's politics everywhere, but they play the politics of within the army, not the kind of politics we play. But after leaving office, I realized that quite a number of professionals in the security services play dirty politics.
He realized everything after leaving office. Dude was there for 6 years. I remember then they were marching for him to become the interim president or the acting president when Yaradua was on his way out. Dude realized that the politicians were bad after leaving office. Dude realized that the military were playing partisan politics in Nigeria after leaving office. Dude realized that Emefiele is a fraud after leaving office. Dude realized that Alison Madueke was a corrupt, evil woman after leaving office. Dude realized that Patient Jonathan was the one ruling all this while after leaving office. Wasted 6 years. Wasted 6 years of Nigeria. And it was like, oh, people didn't like him. Oh, people were too harsh on him. People didn't. What is happening in Jonathan? Things were good. Things were good in Jonathan because you don't understand how economic works. Whatever we're suffering right now, I will tell you that the foundation was laid during the Jonathan tenure. He got 63 billion in foreign reserves. 63 effing billion. That was given to him by Obasanjo. He had the best crude oil price on an average during his tenure. Remember, we were already living the, the global crisis that happened in 2008. So demands were started going up again. You know, petroleum price was starting to go up again. So he had a very, very good average price, $100 per barrel under his tenure. So he had a robust reserve given to him. He had the highest petroleum price given to him. And by the time he left, it took it from 60-something billion, it took it to around 30-something billion. And you had massive corruption. The likes at which the country never saw. So they perfected the subsidy scam, the foreign exchange scam under this guy. And when Buhari came, unfortunately, he also didn't understand what was happening. For 30 years, you know, the guy left. President, when he left as head of state, he came back and there was no improvement. I would even say it was worse. So Buhari came back and the arsenal of corruption was already grounded and he didn't even know what he was doing. So we spent another 8 years. 8 years, another 8 years, just going down. Going down as a country. And then Tinubu came and somebody saying that he should have removed subsidy. Things are now expensive. Bro, things was expensive. It was just being suppressed. There's no way you suppress an ailment. If you don't take care of it, at the end of the day, it's going to get worsened. So that was what really happened. So he realized politics everywhere. Maybe you should have realized it while in office, or maybe before you got to office, not after. Because after you realized it, there was nothing you could have done. You were already out. And that was the problem we had with you. The only thing I enjoyed during Goodluck Jonathan's presidency was Patience Jonathan. You will laugh. You will laugh.
But General Rabo is one person that does not get into that. White is white, black is black. Thank you, you're a gift to this country. And the title of the book is quite interesting. Scars and the Boko Haram Conundrum. It is interesting because, you know, when I was in office, and one of the major scars on my government, and it would be on my face, and like Bishop Cook has said, no plastic or cosmetic surgeon can remove it, is the issue of the Chibok girls. It's a scar that I will die with. But later on, people may know a little more details. And that's also to do with the Boko Haram. What do they really want? Of course, our chairman raised the issue when interviewed some of them, and they gave him some perspective. But probably one day, I pray that some of the Boko Haram leaders may be literate enough to document what they have done so that people will really know what they wanted. Because it's like the story of the Nigerian Civil War. If you read one of the books, My Command, I think that's one of the first books that came out from President Obasanjo, because he was there. Then Ojukwu wrote his own, because I am involved. So when those who were involved in something say it, you get a different perspective. If you go through a research, interview a lot of people, yes, you'll get part of the story, but you will never get the full story of the Boko Haram. Because I was there. The Boko Haram started 2009 when I was the vice president to late Yaradua. Of course, I took over 2010 for 5 years, battling with the Boko Haram until I left. I thought that immediately I leave, within a reasonable time, late General Buhari was going to wipe them out, but till today, the Boko Haram is still there. So the issue of Boko Haram is a little more complex than sometimes we can conjecture. In 1999, when Obasanjo just became a president, we know we had some issues in the Southwest. But government was able to bring it down because there was a clear focus, there was clear reason, and government was able to. Then we had issues in the Niger Delta. And when I became the vice president, one of the major things I did was to visit the most dangerous camp of the militants in the Niger Delta. I remember when we flew down to Warri, by the time we get to the waterfront to take boats to that camp, they sent information to us that anybody following me must not carry a weapon. My ADC, my CSO, that nobody should carry a weapon. In fact, the Commissioner of Police of Delta State said, Vice President, no, you will not go there. The State Director of SSS to say, no, I will not go. I told them I will go. So even my officers, my ADC, my CSO, and so on, they handed over their guns to the CP and the SDS of Delta State, and none of them carried a weapon. When we landed at the camp, these boys lying up one this way, one road this way, with their assault rifles, just facing the bush, not even looking at my direction as if there was nothing happening. We passed through them, sorry. We had a meeting with their leaders and so on. We had spent almost 1 hour there. When we came back, that was the beginning of solving the the Niger Delta crisis. And we're able to get through. At least now there's a reasonable pace in the Niger Delta.
Okay.
If you, like Bishop mentioned, the 82 and 83, when we have the Maitasinde religious crisis in this country. From research, the Maitasinde religious crisis, when some of them were arrested and analyzed and interviewed, they came from parts of the Sahel area between Nigeria and outside Nigeria, where we had major drought within that period, and the river pest disease that wiped out so many cattle. And so many young people from these areas migrated to the cities, Maiduguri and others, and they had no skills and nothing to do. And they were able to be recruited and cause havoc. Luckily, it was a military government then. So when the military...
What does it mean, luckily, was a military government then? When you're the president of Nigeria, you are the effing commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And when it comes to insurgency, fortunately, the Constitution, you have the power to execute whatever strategy you need to execute. That is the soldiers, not the police now, the soldiers, they answer to your command as the president, not the other way around. So the fact that you're telling me that luckily the military government, which we know destroyed our country, averagely, most of them, almost all of them were retarded. Almost all of them destroyed the country, Nigeria. That's why we're where we are today. Almost all of them, name them, I'll tell you. Most of the military leaders were evil. So when you're using the word luckily you had a military leader, and that was why there was no insurgent. So are you suggesting that for us to solve all the security problems in Nigeria, we should go back to the military regime that actually brought us into this level of dysfunction that's made insecurity fester. See what I'm saying? Again, I don't care. Like, when it comes to terrorism, you can't be playing soft. There might be issues with maybe extrajudicial killings, which you have to be careful and try to minimize it, but you have to be on offense and cover all your bases. What we've spent on security for the past few years is staggering, and nothing to show for it.
Military intervened. They were able to bring it down because there was a clear reason. A reason of young people who were looking for survival, but they had no skills, and so on and so forth. So if you put all these things together, you begin to say, this Boko Haram, why is it that from 2009 till date, we've not been able to resolve the crisis of Boko Haram? So just like Bishop Kuka tried to raise some fundamental issues. Yes, we need to approach it differently.
Okay.
The issue of carrots and the stick may be adopted. And yes, probably they need something. But if you look at the...
My guy, if you wake up in the morning and all your aim is to go and blow up somewhere or to go and kill people, there's nothing like carrot and stick. Oh, they recruited them because they didn't have a job and all of that. Okay. You cannot make the life of those that are law-abiding to be your own guinea pig for insecurity. So again, I don't care. Like, carrot and stick, maybe it will work in some other climes, but if you're going out and you're going to kill people, burn villages at night, and roast people alive, sorry, there's no carrots there. If you kill people in the name of terrorism, you're gone. I don't believe in all this kind, and that's why some people try to bring up the case that Obi has in Anambra with respect to the killings and all of those. Till tomorrow, except there are real stuffs that says that Obi went against the rule of the day or against the law, and those people were not really involved in terrorizing the community, then I'm going to say, okay, fine, Obi's wrong. People try to use that to make Obi look bad. I mean, I'm not an Obi supporter, but you cannot be creating havoc and killing people at random and bombing up places, and then you're saying that, oh, it's now time to have a negotiation. I mean, these people are, those days in during 2011, 2012, you see the e-logs they use? Most of the banks don't even use that kind of e-logs. Do you see the artilleries, the tankers, the machine guns? That's not characters. Those are not people that are looking for job. The problem is this: if you don't go after the leaders, and that's where the problem is, the most populous leaders, the politicians, the kingpins, those are the people that you need to actually fight, take the fight to. Not just the guy that does not know how to eat, that does not have what to eat, that is being recruited. I mean, if they are being caught in exchange, in fire exchange, who is to blame? But you cannot. One person's life that is law abiding should not be used as a sacrifice because you want to appease some group of people that kills indiscriminately. That has turned a lot of locations in the north to IDP centers. So again, I don't believe in the carrot and stick for terrorism. Maybe carrot and stick for thugs, for people sleeping under the bridge, for people stealing phones. But when you're killing people in the name of extremism, there's nothing like carrots.
Weapons they use, and you value the weapons, then you know that these are not hungry people. So the soldiers that sometimes capture some of the weapons will see better. But the weapons they use, the ammunitions they use, sometimes they even have more ammunitions than our soldiers.
What the hell? Why are you telling us that information? Why would they have more weapons? And you can trace all these weapons. Can you imagine? This is the former president of Nigeria saying that Boko Haram has more better weapons, which is true. But shouldn't that be said in shame? Shouldn't that be said in like a failure for even agreeing that effing Boko Haram, people will say they're hungry, that want to do carrot and stick, they have a better ammunition than our military. And you came out to say that out loud. And you knew then. And then the reason was that they said US would not sell weapons. To hell with US, I'm going to get a weapon anyways. There are ways to get weapons that is better than Boko Haram weapons. You don't need to go to the US. Even if US put a sanction on Nigeria to say you're not going to get weapons, there are ways to get weapons. There are ways to get way, way, way better weapons. But because the politicians, the kingpins, are complicit, and you don't have the balls to say, you know what, one person will not be killed in the north. You have to go through me. That's why we have all this. That's why we have all this.
So it doesn't show that they're hungry people. And where are these guns, sophisticated weapons coming from?
No, you are the president. You were the president. We should be asking you, bro. We should be asking you, where are the guns coming from? You're going to tell us where the guns are coming from. I'm not the one. I mean, I don't hold any political power. I don't even have money to say I want to do some deep level investigation. You shouldn't be saying this, Jonathan. After 6 years as the Grand Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, you have the Navy under you, you have the Air Force under you, you have the military under you, you have the police under you. And now we have the Guguru Defense. Bro, this is the president. Oh my God. This is the ex-president talking. Where is the weapon coming from?
And you begin to see that
Maybe it came from 4chan or from the dark web.
the external hands are also involved.
To hell with the external hands. To hell with the external hands. You know what they do? They size you up. They size you up. Once they see that you don't really know what you're doing, and once they see that you're not tough enough, then they strike. That was why when Buhari came into power, before Buhari came into power, Boko Haram activities started dwindling. So they had, decided that they're going to push back all those terrorists a few months to election, just to give Jonathan a good name and buy him some more grace. So what they did was they decided to push, I think, from 22 local governments to less than, double digits. And I was like, why would you literally, before the 2015 election, be able to push these terrorists back from almost 22 local governments to less than 10? Why did you do it years before the elections? Okay? That was the first thing I felt like, this doesn't make sense. Then that left. Then Buhari came in. And Buhari went out on them for a while. Then all of a sudden, Baba was sick. And then Baba lose guard. And now we have all this Pinta group all around the place.
Especially when I was a president. So it's a bit complex. And it's not a matter of a single story. But I believe as a nation, we have to look at the concept of Boko Haram and approach it differently from the conventional approach. I believe one day we'll get over it.
It's 2025. One day. We go better one day in our poor man's prayer. So that means it's quite painful, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, it's quite painful and it's underwhelming. That in 2025, we're talking about a group of terrorists. And people are like, oh, you're not there. Yeah, why are you talking about? Okay. Let me freaking tell you. If you want to solve terrorism, I have the formulas. I have what it takes if you want to solve terrorism in Nigeria. And it's not me. Do you know that around that period when Boko Haram was also Boko Haram came before ISIS? Boko Haram came before ISIS. Where is ISIS today? Where's Al Qaeda today? They've been decimated. ISIS is not like ISIS still exists, though, don't get me wrong. But you can't see them trying to say, then that idiot will sit down, and then you have representative from the federal government negotiating with terrorists. And those guys will sit down like they're in charge. In a country where it's ruled by borderlines and constitution, that's not how you solve terrorism. You eat them hard. You don't understand? Like, you're telling me now, like, ISIS is still there, but really, they're as useless as it comes. Why? Because they went after them with weapons. They went after their financial sources. Anybody related to ISIS, they neutralize you. They eat them. Eat them from the front, right, center. That was how. Let me play that for you. Just give me 1 minute. Let me see if I can get that record for you. How we were able to destroy ISIS. And I said we, not me, but, Donald Trump was able to destroy ISIS. I'll tell you, he gave the story. I have it here in my search stuff. Let's talk about this guy. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let me see this one.
Off. I flew to a lovely place called Iraq. And I flew at night, and I got there at night, and I said to myself, this is interesting, because they say, sir, all of the lights in the plane, sir, are going off. I say, why? Because we're getting ready to land. We're an hour out. I said, what about the shades? Well, we want it better than that. Maybe light gets through. So we turned the lights off, put the shades down. This is a big 740 Air Force One. And we're landing, and I go up and I look. And I've landed. I like to sit with pilots. I respect people that know what they're doing. And these are the best in the world. I really do. These are the best in the world. And the pilot says, sir, we're landing in approximately 1.5 minutes. I say, but there's no runway. No, sir, the runway's right up there, sir. I say, I don't see it. I have pretty good vision. At least for my age, I have good vision. I guess for my age, I have great vision, but I don't have vision like a 35-year-old captain. He said, no, it's right up there. I said, I'm sorry, Captain. How about this? Should we lift off and try to get Captain? There's no runway. Anyway, no, he said, right up there. Now we land. There's practically no lights. These are little pin spots. And I said, think of this. We spent $7 trillion in the Middle East.
Okay, $7 trillion, not naira, to fight Middle Eastern stuff. You may not like the decision, you may not like the war, I don't like the war and all of that. They spent so much money, no results. That's what's happening in Nigeria. We spend and spend. Oh, the new budget for stuff is so trillion naira. Nothing to show for it. You're spending all those monies when there is no leadership. You're just going to be pouring money into the problem, thinking that more money will give you more security. No, it doesn't work that way. What you need is leadership.
And we can't land a plane with the lights on. 20 years later, how bad is that? Now, seriously, how bad is it? How bad is it? $7 trillion and we have to fly in with no lights. But I met some incredible people. Generals. One of them came from Syria, the operation in Syria. And I was upset with my generals because they weren't getting it finished. I want the job done. I want to bring our people back home.
Until Tinubu is upset with the generals, until Tinubu is upset with all of those guys in charge of security in Nigeria, we're going to be having all these problems. Until Tinubu is upset with someone going to church again on a Sunday morning and not even sure if they're going to get back home. Or people sleeping in villages and then you just have their lives cut short. And then you have so much, obituaries. So much corpses out there. You're not going to have any solution on insecurity. So that was it. Number one, what did this guy do? And this is the pathway. This is how you solve insecurity. It flew to where the insurgency was. At that time, it was ISIS. So Trump left Washington, went to where they were battling ISIS. When has Tinubu carried his plane and saying, I'm going to Borno? Or when has he carried his plane to say, I'm going to Kwara State, Okiodo? No, seriously. And that's why I'm saying I give Tinubu a 0 when it comes to security. When did Tinubu say, oh, what happened in Okiodo where people are leaving the village? I don't care if it's a village or if it's an economic center. Where? When did he carry his plane and say, I'm going to the southeast? And I'm not going to the southeast to go and commission one bridge where people cannot use. What I'm saying, I'm going to the southeast. I'm going to those areas where they're saying that this is the hotbed of insurgency in the southeast. When? Because I don't have any record of that. If there was one, it was going to Benue. I don't even know what happened. The guy had to turn back because there was flood. And the roads were bad. Maybe not his fault. It's fault of all the successive years of military regime and PDP and APC's party ruling.
It's not fair. And this is why I flew. So I met generals I didn't know. General 1, General 2, General 3. I mean, these generals, there's no person in Hollywood that could play the role. These guys are like perfect people. I said, what's your name? Sir, my name is Raisin. What the hell kind of a name? I said, Raisin, like the fruit? He goes, yes, sir, Raisin. What's your last name? Kane, Raisin Kane. I said, you gotta be kidding. It's true. Raisin Kane, General, I just made him a big star. Just like I did with Mattis when I said, we're gonna give you a new nickname, because Chaos is not a good nickname. So we changed his name. Called him Mad Dog. Mad Dog wasn't working too well, so what happened is I flew to Iraq. I wanted to meet the people on the site, because I learned
you've got to meet the people on the site of all of this insurgency. You've got to go. You've got to go. Like, you've got to go. You cannot just say, oh, they're trying to work hard and all that. Seriously? Number one, life of soldiers are being wasted. Each day there is lack of decision-making, lack of leadership. People are being decimated. And I really applaud the foot soldiers of the Nigerian military. There is no crazier job that you can be in Nigeria today than for you to be serving as an army officer, battling insurgency in some of these places, in the north, in the southeast, in the creek, and all of those. But the reason why we lose a lot of them is because there's lack of leadership. There's lack of leadership. Like, how do you even expect that people go, to fight? During Jonathan's time, and we're still going to go back for him to finish his speech, the cry was that we had people in the military saying that they just left. They just left their weapons because they couldn't even withstand the firepower that was coming out of these Boko Haram guys. And you're telling me that these are people that are hungry. What the hell? They're not hungry. These are trained terrorists that have taken over the shores of the country. Soldiers were given weapons that could not even fire during those Jonathan years. And then they said a U.S. placed an embargo on weapons. To hell with U.S. If I'm the president and I have terrorism under me and I cannot do that, then is that how you get out of the kitchen? Or you talk to those people financing that and say, it's between me and you. Is that how I go? But this thing can never happen. Not one more person. Not one more person. We keep spending trillions and security keeps getting worse. Okay, so how did Trump solve the ISIS question? Because that's where we're coming from. Don't lose focus. How did he solve the Al-Qaeda and the ISIS question? Because they were already taking part of Syria, Iran. Turkey was being threatened at the time that he had to use the courts. So how did Trump destroy ISIS within a very few short months that Obama had created? Obama, I told you yesterday, Obama was one of the worst presidents you could ever have in the United States. Because the guy did nothing for the blacks, did nothing for the whites, except for all those single-sex, whatever, same-sex married people. Those were Obama's heroes.
More sometimes from soldiers, what's going on, than I do from generals. I do. I hate to say it, and I tell that to the generals. What's going on than I do from generals.
See what he said
people
there?
on the site, because I learn more sometimes from soldiers, what's going on, than I do from generals.
Can you imagine? He learns more from those on the site. If you want to know how to solve Boko Haram's problem today, it's not one chief of army staff in Abuja that will tell you how to solve that problem. No. He's a guy that does not know if he's going to go back to his family tomorrow. He's the guy that does not know if he's going to go back to his children tomorrow, risking his life. That's the guy that should be in the room when they're formulating policies on how to tackle insecurity based on what he's facing in the field. Because that's the best way you could have the best feedback loop is by you confronting those that are facing the danger.
I do. I hate to say it, and I tell that to the generals all the time. But I didn't have to go there. I didn't have to go there because I landed this airport, the most incredible thing. We must have spent $3 billion building it. It's one of the reasons I don't want to leave Iraq so fast. I said, how do we leave this thing? So I have Raising Cane, 3 other generals, colonels, sergeants, and I said, bring the cameras, I'm going to make a movie. This is the most incredible thing. And I said to the generals, listen, we got to get out. I want to know, why is it going to take 2 years to knock off 2 or 3 or 4%, which is what we had left? It won't, sir. I said, tell me why it won't. It won't, sir. If we attack them in a different manner, we can do it much faster. Okay, General Raising Cane, how fast can... Sir, we can have it totally finished in 1 week. I said, 1 week? I was told 2 years.
See that? In Washington, they were telling Trump it's going to take you 2 years to destroy all these insurgencies. On the battlefield, the guy in charge said it's going to take 1 week. So, see the difference, see the disconnect? Why? Because the guy in Washington, they need to be bringing supplies to the military. There's a company in charge of that. There's a company in charge of weapon delivery. There's a company in charge of media. They have to fly logistics. There are people benefiting from that insurgency. The reason why you don't have security solved in Nigeria today is because there are people that are benefiting from insecurity in Nigeria. There was an account of what happened in Kwara State just a few days ago. Live account, those on the ground, not verified. But this is what they said. During the interview, he said that the soldiers came to them, to the vigilantes, collected their weapons, and told them that they wanted to go service them. Because they'll tell you, vigilante, you have to work with the soldiers. They took their weapon away, and they said they saw like helicopter patrolling, and they saw people dropping from the helicopter, and they started opening fire. That was the record on the ground. Okay, if you say, oh, it's a lie, it's fake news, how come they took their weapon? Again, why would you take the old weapon of everybody? That's some of the stupidity that we are made to live with in Nigeria. So they told Trump it's going to take 2 years. The person on the field fighting the terror said it's going to take 1 week.
1 week? That's right, sir. We're only hitting them from a temporary base in Syria. But if you gave us permission, we could hit them from the back, from the side, from all over, from the base that you're right on right now, sir. They won't know what the hell hit them. They won't know what the hell hit them, sir. And I said, why didn't my other generals tell me that?
I'm not going to tell you. I tell you the problem that is happening. They're not, because they're benefiting, there are contractors benefiting from the insurgency happening all over the country. There are politicians benefiting from Boko Haram, from all of this whatever in the Southeast. Do you think it's the person that is hungry that doesn't know how to eat is the one that is causing all this insecurity problem in Nigeria. No. It's the guys that are benefiting from the supplies, either from the military side through budgeting, increasing the budget because they've increased their budget in multiple folds since insurgency started, or the other people try to have an ulterior motive or an ideology to Islamize or to also dominate certain parts of the country. Insurgency, and that was what someone said, Abacha said that if insurgency lasts for more than 3 days, then the government is involved. So we gotta know who is involved here as we speak.
Why didn't they tell me that?
They won't tell
I said, did you tell them that? Not our place to say it, sir. They come in from Washington, sir. We have to take orders.
That's it. So if they tell you, you know, one of the things that happened also in Kwara State, before I forget, was that they told the soldiers, they said they're not going to do anything, that they don't have the order. They don't tell you. And again, that's it. That's the way they're trained. Even if you are going to your death and the soldier says fire on, you have to fire on. If the command says fire on, but if they say withdraw, you have to withdraw. So anything may be happening, they say we don't have the orders to protect you. I'm sorry. And then you have these guys laughing with police, soldiers, and you know.
You're the first one to ask us our opinion.
I imagine that.
True.
Okay. So, long story short, he went back to Washington. And when he got to Washington, he gave those orders. That was why ISIS, fell so fast that Britain was like, oh, we don't know. We don't want to take our terrorists back because people had left the United Kingdom to go and join ISIS. People have left all over the world. It was so fast that even the United UK politicians said, oh, no, we can't take our citizens back. And they said, oh, okay. Trump said, come and take everybody, come and take your citizens. ISIS is falling. ISIS is falling. I'm telling you. So when Jonathan in 2025 is now giving an account of what happened to the Chibok girls, to insecurity, when he was the president, and saying that, I don't know, maybe one day we're going to solve that problem, I feel so sad.
So once again, let me thank you, General Irabo, for this, because I always appreciate people who clearly document events, so that maybe sometimes when we write our own, we'll borrow from your documentation. And I believe that all the military officers who were involved in this Boko Haram saga should be able to give us information about what the Boko Haram stood for.
You should be able to give us information because they prospered under your reign. Can you see the disconnect? And again, that's why I don't understand why people are saying that I'm seeing stuff, Jonathan 2027. Like, people don't understand. Jonathan 2027? What the hell? Like, see, I don't even know what to say. Let me just finish this.
If it is only about hunger, because we tried different options, I don't need to give a sermon. It will look as if I am trying to defend my own government. That will come up later when we will document, we'll write our books. But I believe we took different options, set different committees. We tried our best within that 5 years that I was there. I believe late Buhari too must have tried his best, because one of the committees we set up then, the Boko Haram nominated Buhari to lead their team to negotiate with government. So I was feeling that, if they nominated Buhari to represent them and have a discussions with the government committee, then when Buhari took over, it could have been an easy way to negotiate with them, and they would have handed over their guns, but it was still there till today.
Fair enough.
I believe the government, luckily the defense minister is here. The service chiefs all are represented here. I think we will need a slightly different approach, and God willing, we will be able to resolve this crisis. I thank you all.
Okay. Okay, so that's it. Unfortunately, Boko Haram or insurgency crisis has not been. I mean, the military, they're trying. I'm talking about those on the field, those fighting, not those making decision in Abuja. And that's it. Again, let's listen to Obasanjo's account, because Obasanjo gave us Jonathan, right? He gave us Jonathan. He gave us Jonathan. Gave us Yaradua. Let's listen to his own. So the theme of this is that Boko Haram virtually is becoming part of Nigerian life, and it's so sad. I still remember the first time we had that bomb incidents. The first time, and it was Abuja. It was actually Abuja. I think it was TUC that was bombed. I think around 2009. And I was like, what? I thought it was just one-off. Then it became like an every other day thing. And then it was like spreading across local government with their ELOCs, with their machine guns, with their tankers and all that. It's crazy.
The author and the celebrant. Your Excellencies, Your Eminence, you hold.
I'm gonna skip some of this.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me start by giving rules for this occasion. Except those that I will mention now who are on the program, the keynote remark maker, the book reviewer, the author, and the remark of the special guest of honor. Those are 4. And then, of course, the remark of the president that finished.
I need to fast. I need to. This a lot of stories here.
Then you will be switched off. And I don't think you will want to have that. Now, we will leave here not a minute later than 1. When General Rabo asked me to write the foreword to his book, I was extremely pleased. And I did not lose time at all to do it. And as I said, partly in my foreword, this is the first time we are getting an insider, an eyewitness person to say it as he sees it, he satisfies them.
I'm not getting anything from this video. I just gonna move. Anyways, what it's trying to say is that Boko Haram virtually is becoming part of Nigerian life. Again, in a country that things are working, when you have people like this, you know, that have ruled before and all that, I believe that during the time when you had that insurgency, Obasanjo could have helped Jonathan, but Jonathan clearly and Obasanjo, they were not in good terms. So what happened was that I just left Jonathan to tackle the thing of which he didn't even have, you know, anything to do. So I'm gonna move on. So this guy is still in the news. I don't know. I don't know why this guy is still in the news. After the revelation that there was actually an offer to pay Dangote staff and Dangote worker for 5 years' salary. So Dangote said that, you know what, these guys, they've joined the union, blah, 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 and all of that. I'm going to pay them all 5 years' salary so that they can go. And then Pengasan said no. Pengasan said no. And that's crazy.
Of Dangote refinery, both Pengasan and Nupeng. So they had a conversation and they told us that their employees, that they were free to join the union, being that it's the law. So this was in 2022 and we did not act. All this while, we waited and we allowed, you know, the refinery to settle down. They started producing AGO, started producing PMS and all that. Even while the employees, they were coming to us that they want to join Pengasan, we asked them, hold on a bit, until the MOU that was signed between between Dangote management and Nupeng, as witnessed by NLC and TUC. So they gave a 2 weeks window that within these 2 weeks that the workers are free to join the union. So when they now gave that 2 weeks notice, so the employees, they came to us in their droves that they want to join Pengasan. In fact, on a particular day, over 30 or 40 of them came to our secretariat and told us that they want to join Pengasan. So it was because of that, we now said, okay, let's deploy forms to them. We deploy a Google form to them, and behold, within 48 hours, over 800 plus filled the form. So they now said that they want us to unionize them before that window of 2 weeks elapses. So that was why on the 22nd of September, that was the day that 2 weeks window would elapse. That was why we now sent them the form, sent Dangote the communication. We sent Dangote a letter informing him that, or rather the management, that these people, that they have registered with us freely and voluntarily as required by the law, that they've registered with us and that moving forward, they are now our members. These are the pro-tem executives. So we did that on the 22nd of September. Then by the 23rd and 24th, they now got some of their HRO executives to do a word count. So they were going from offices to offices, from unit to unit, to confirm if these people, if they truly subscribe to Pengasan. So they were ticking the box. Truly, over 800 plus acknowledge the fact that yes, we have signed to be members of Pengasan voluntarily. So this happened till Wednesday last week. Then on Thursday, that was when he now used a single letter to terminate over 800 plus people. I mean, Bukola, these people, they were employed, giving them individual letters and giving them their individual condition of service, right? But you now use a single letter in terminating everyone. That is quite not correct. That is not how it should even be done. To terminate an individual, you give him his own letter, but with a single letter, they terminated all. So this happened on Thursday. Then I and my executive, we had a meeting with the Congress of the Pengasan members in Dangote, whereby we gave them a lot. I mean, they told us what the challenges were. They explained to us the issues and that they were at the gate that morning. And we now had a NEC meeting on Saturday, and the NEC decided that this is an extraordinary times and we need to take an extraordinary measure. So that's what prompted the industrial action.
And these were some of the things that were being discussed during the haggling and the back and forth during the meeting. Yes,
certainly. Certainly.
But the backstory is beginning to emerge to the effect that we're hearing that it was a WhatsApp group that was created in which, you know, some of these workers were being enlisted on that WhatsApp group to provide information about the operations of Dangote Refinery to your association. Have you chanced upon that report?
To our association?
Pengasan was allegedly recruiting these staff to enlist in a WhatsApp group, and they provided forms for them, and they were asking them to provide confidential information about operations at the refinery.
Which confidential information are they going to provide that would warrant a sack? You have 800 people. I mean, they created a WhatsApp group, which is normal.
Bro, what are you talking about? again, I'm not for, I think, there's a place in the Bible that says the rich answers roughly. Dangote, which I always say that if you go to Google and Google who is the owner of Nigeria, Nigeria will not come out. It will be Dangote. I believe that Dangote actually took that thing way, like it came out blunt and it hammered them in a very, 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 very brutal way. Again, I understand it's his business. And unions can be very funny at times. But at the same time, sacking 800 people who just a week before you had said these are the best set of workers you could ever have in Nigeria. They've been trained, they're very good. Some of them are even going out as expatriates to other countries. For you to now say you're sacking them based on performance. Because that was the reason. Dangote would not have said because they joined the union. But the reason Dangote refineries gave was that they were sacking them based on performance and they were doing certain restructuring, then that also was bad. Again, there are a lot of blames to go around. But if truly there was a WhatsApp group for 800 people, then forget it. Dangote is no longer in charge of that company. Because within that 800, you know how chat rooms work. There'll be another sub. And then that was really a risk. So I kind of understand that Dangote, who has been facing a lot of battle from different unions, I kind of understand why he also went hard. And again, Dangote's plan was that Dangote wasn't really, bent on destroying those 800 people's life. But it felt like he saw that there was an unseen hand behind those 800 people that seems as if they were trying to sabotage the whole company. Because Dangote was facing a lot of battles from the marketers, from the downstream people, from the Nupeng, from this, from that, from the drivers. So it was crazy. So again, I expect Dangote to be on the edge. If you're a businessman and you're handling business and you're paying salaries and you have a 20 billion refineries, even though I know that people said the entire refinery, he got undue advantage, fine, I understand. So for you to now say there was a WhatsApp group, that shouldn't make Dangote worry. I know Dangote is going to worry. 800 people in a WhatsApp group. If I'm the one, I'm going to be
Pengasan have 160 branches. 150 of them operate in the private sector, and they all have WhatsApp group. I am from Total Energies upstream, all right? We have a WhatsApp group. All the chapters, they have WhatsApp group. What is there about WhatsApp group?
But if you run an organization and, confidential information was being harvested from your organization to a WhatsApp group chat that will go outside your community, would you be
What is the confidential information?
Would you be comfortable with that?
What is the confidential information? And there is no Pengasan official that is even in that group, Bukola. It's a group of employees, all right? So if a group of employees, they are discussing things about their company, what is really the challenge about that? There is no Pengasan official. I am not in their WhatsApp group. There is none of the secretarial staff that is in their WhatsApp group. I can't be, because what is really special about Dangote? That's the question we've asked. Because really, Pengasan is in 150 private organizations. I cannot be in all their WhatsApp group. I don't belong to any of those WhatsApp groups because they have their chapter and their branch executives that manages their activities. So it's not really for us to be in their WhatsApp group. So they could be in their WhatsApp group discussing some issues peculiar to their organization. It's for them. But they should show us evidence of those confidential information that they were sharing with Pengasan. Show us the evidence of that. It's not just enough to say confidential information. Those are buzzwords. Just as they said, that sabotage. We later found out that there was really nothing like sabotage in any way.
But another question that is just as important is why the conflicts are coming back to back. And people are asking, what do the oil industry players have against Dangote? Prior to Pengasan versus Dangote, it was Nupeng, and Dangote was Dartman versus Dangote. So why are these issues coming back to back?
Do you know that as of today, Dangote Refinery doesn't have license to operate? NMDPRA is the regulator of the mid and the downstream in the oil and gas industry. they don't even allow the NNDPROA to do their work. Let me explain one thing to you, Bukola. Dangote has operated in an industry that have not, you didn't have regulations. So he has been used to, being in a system where there is no regulation, a system where you just set up factory, you really, don't have those kind of strong regulations that we have in the oil and gas industry. That was why, from the beginning, if you could check, the problem started earlier with NMDPROA, the regulator of the industry. If you remember, where the current authority chief executive came out to make some statements, I think sometime last year. Then you now have series of challenges, thereafter. So the problem really is that I'm not quite sure that they did their due diligence to understand this industry, because the oil and gas industry is a unique industry that operates, that has the same code, all over the world. So that understanding really was not there, number one. Then number two, people have asked, is it really about the sacking of these people? What else could it be? Okay, when they have even agreed now to say we are moving them, we are taking them back, didn't the strike end? The strike ended. So if it was because of another reason, we wouldn't have stopped the strike, right? But the strike ended immediately. They said, okay, the federal government imposed it on them that, okay, you are going to do this or that. And as of today, they said they've accepted. So we are watching. So it was purely about these people. When you tell someone a saboteur and you disengage that person based on that reason, that person would find it extremely difficult to find job anywhere anymore.
Yeah, so they apparently the 800 people, that were involved, it's sad. They were just the chicken or the pawn in the whole scheme. That there's nothing, like, I don't even know how they want to move on with their career. And that's why I'm still waiting. I don't know if they're going to ask him that question, that they said they were going to pay them 5 years salary. I want to know if the question is going to come up. Because truly, to be honest with you, I kind of get where Dangote is coming from. But at the same time, I'm not going to be like, I'm sympathy for Dangote. Dangote is a mafia. So is Lumelu. So is Otedola. So again, I kind of get, the rationale behind them joining a union. But at the same time, all these unions also, what has been the value add? Because the union is going on strike almost every other time. There's going to be scarcity because the union are trying to fight something, fight that thing. You can't do that for a private company. It becomes very difficult. Thank you. It becomes very, very difficult.
You even terminate someone from his place of work. It's difficult for that person to find job elsewhere because they will ask you, where have you worked? Go and bring references from where you've worked. There's no employer that will see that Mr. A was terminated in a particular organization that will want to employ such person. Talk less of the fact that they were termed saboteur. So when you say someone has sabotaged your company, that was why we were really interested to say, no, these are young engineers, 26, 27, 28 years old, that their future will be destroyed if we don't act decisively.
So, but when you say that Dangote doesn't have a license to operate, it really doesn't answer all of the questions, because then some would say that perhaps the oil industry players do not want the importation regime to end, and hence that perhaps that the marketers are using Nupeng and Pengerson as proxies to fight a player who has put his hard-earned money, $20 billion, to put an investment on ground that has now begun to help Nigeria exit that regime of petroleum, of importation of petroleum products. Is that the case here, that the marketers are using Pengerson and Nupeng as proxies to fight Dangote, and indeed some government players, whom Dangote himself accused as having refineries abroad, do not also want that investment, that national asset, to thrive? First,
Bukola, NMDPRO is a government agency, right? So it's owned by government. So what you are saying is that the government does not want Dangote to succeed. That's what you infer by that. Because if the regulator, that is government, they are government. So if they are having some issues with the refineries, so that means government does not want Dangote to operate. And that is not the case. Number one. Then number two, Bukola, really, we've heard these narratives. You know, as unionists at times, we have thick skins because people spin narratives X, Y, Z. The question we have asked is that if Dangote did not sack those people, there wouldn't have been any cause for action. That's the reality. So who started it? Was it that Dangote was?
No, so the thing is that Dangote doesn't want union. There is no major entrepreneur that wants union. I'm talking about the big wigs now. I'm not talking about a small company or government. I'm saying major employers of labor hate unions. Those are two parallel lines. They never meet. Elon Musk in the US hates union. Amazon hates union. And the battle is still going on. Jeff Bezos had to shut down a factory, a warehouse, because they're into buying and selling, so not factory, but a warehouse in Quebec, because those people wanted to do union. So they said, oh, we're going to vote. They said, okay, fine. They voted, and they voted for unionism. The next day, Jeff Bezos just closed down. He closed it down. So again, I kind of understand where it's coming from, but let's be real with ourselves. There is no successful entrepreneur that would love union, because at times, union also brings in some level of bureaucracy into businesses. That's what they do. And again, for a company that is new, that is just trying to get its feet, I understand it's benefited a lot from the federal government and all of those, that is fighting wars at different ends. The last thing you want to stress is maybe your staff are not loyal. That's the last thing you want to even get yourself involved. So, yeah, he's gonna fight them to the end. He doesn't want union. Maybe in the next 10 years, there may be a case for it, but not now that the refinery is trying. And that was what's his name again? Oshiomhole said yesterday. Oshiomhole was that was too early for them to have been parading union. I mean, you didn't even allow the oil to circulate around the country first.
Was just on his own, allowing the people to unionize. Then we will not go there and start struggling. The answer clearly is a no. So the cause of action was because of the termination of these people. Then talking about marketers, we largely in Pengassan, we have our teeth majorly in the upstream and minimal presence in both the mid and the downstream, Bukola.
Okay, so I'm not saying that employees, okay, fine. You're saying that employers have what? They have no choice about union. Yeah, I'm not arguing about that. But I'm also saying that there are laws, right? There are ways you could actually work things out. I'm not saying that, that Dangote should not. The banks, even you have a lot of stuff happening in the banks, you have a lot of firing that happens in the bank, then what happens after that? And again, Dangote Refinery is just beginning to move on. Okay, so why is it that because they can't have union now, then you have to shut down the whole country? There are also rules that the unions have to move on with. I'm not okay with the 800 people being sacked. I've said that for the opt-in time. But that being said also, there are ways to go about it. So why I don't agree with Dangote, I kind of understand. And again, in terms of union, at times, there is also some variation. There are some companies, there are some employers that will tell you no unionization, and there's nothing you can do about it.
We are not into PMS distribution. We are not into moving PMS from one tank farm to another. That's not our core area of jurisdiction. So NUPENG is in that area. For us, the clear cause of it was issues bordering about the sack. I have asked a question. If he did not sack these our members and we are agitating for no just cause, then that question will be valid. But when you drill it down, he started it, or the company management started it by the firing unjustly of 800 people. So when they now recall them back, didn't the strike stop? How come those marketers did not tell us that we should not stop the strike? If they were actually the one using us. We don't have any relationship with them whatsoever.
So they're totally unrelated?
No, totally unrelated, 100%.
They just happen to happen coincidentally.
100%.
But we'll find out just how trite that argument is in line with other concerns also that some other players, you say Not Bengas and New Peng, are also, working to retain an old template that Nigeria should be exiting from. But that will be after the break. This is hard copy on Channels Television. We'll pause for a break now. When we return, we'll understand the backstory.
Yeah, I'm having like buffers here. What's happening? Because my internet just gave up on me. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna move on. I mean, there's nothing I can do. I just have to move.
Why will Mr. Ologunagba do such a thing? Was he acting alone, or was he acting on instruction?
Okay, moving on to so this is PDP's internal issue. I'm interested in what happens because that party has become a shell of itself. This is a party that had pride itself in that's pride itself, in what's it called again? Being able to dominate Nigeria for 60 years. So the PDP's plan was that they're going to dominate Nigeria for the next 60 years. But right now, they can't even dominate themselves.
Of someone else or some other persons, let's be asking him, because Senator Anyanwu has laid it bare. Mr. Debo Ologunagba, the National Public Secretary of the PDP, is live for us tonight on the program. Thanks so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Sean. Nice to be here.
Thank you so much. There are a lot of clarities that you need to make. First and foremost, I see a lot of people mispronounce your name. It's a very cumbersome Yoruba name, which could mean three different things. Ologunagba, that means herbalist or someone with a lot of juju, elderly one. Ologun means Ologunagba means a hunter or someone with some powers of hunting or expeditious powers. Then the other one, medication, Ologunagba. So which one is yours really? So that you can set the record straight.
Coming before you can be very exciting, and I'm happy you're trying to promote this name. It's a combination of the whole. I tell you this. Number one, he was a major general or general in the army. He's very savvy when it comes to healing people traditionally with orthodox medicine, and the capacity.
Oh, Ologunagba. Ologun. Okay. Ogunagba. Okay.
To withstand challenges right now. So it's a combination of all that you thought about.
So you
Ologunagba, pronounced Ologunagba.
So you're a descendant of a powerful man.
Not just that, a major general in my own estimation.
Although you don't look like someone who has the capacity to fight in a battle, but it looks like you're fighting one.
Give to the battlefield and we can
party.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
You'll find out right now. I'm not even fighting a party, a war in the party, because there's no war in the party. We are making a clarification of situation in the party. And make no mistake about it. The idea in your opening remarks is talking about messy house of commotion. It is far from it.
PDP is in disarray. There's nothing you can talk about. There's nothing you cannot even tell me otherwise. That party is in utter disarray. Like, you have one of your major financiers working for Tinubu. Then what are you talking about? The issue in Rivers State, you guys couldn't resolve it. I mean, there's been a lot of battle. If today is between Wike and Fubara, tomorrow is between Wike and then you have Governor Sheyi of Oyo State. So the party itself is into a lot of internal wrangles. I understand.
The PDP is solid. The PDP is together. Do we have irritations? Yes, we do. Do we have people who disagree with certain things? Yes, we do. That is the beauty of democracy. Because we're truly a democratic party, and we have contestation of ideas, and people come with different backgrounds, different views, and different interests, there will be clash of this. But the capacity of the PDP that makes it a truly democratic party is that we have inbuilt in our system, in our constitution, what I call a dispute resolution mechanism. And that is what has come and brought this party from 2015, from inception up to date, and we're doing exceedingly well when it comes to that.
The beauty of your party, as you have described it, or whether or not it's not in a commotion, is debatable, because the optics are saying otherwise, and that's why we need to get into this matter tonight. Correct. So first and foremost, let me ask you, who gave you the authority to release that statement?
I tell you, thank you very much for this clarification. Because it's important for Nigerian and indeed our members to understand that membership of a party is free. There's free exit and free entry. So you can decide to enter. But what is key in a political party is that the moment you subscribe to the constitution of that party, you're bound by the provisions of the party. And to that extent, I come to your question. Number one, there's a national working committee that acts and sits and takes decisions on behalf of the National Executive Committee. And that's why, in the wisdom in this constitution, the expectation is that every quarter, once a quarter, that the NEC shall meet. And the NWC shall present through the chairman, through the NEC, about the activities that have been taken on behalf of NEC, which they can either ratify or vary or reject. Now, in this process, and I've come here tonight with the constitution of the party, this document is almost complete in the sense that it makes room for every foreseeable situation. The chairman is the chief executive of the party. Okay. That's provided for in section 35. And in that, it says the chairman shall summon. Summon means to activate.
Okay, this is really boring. For all the problems in PDP, I mean, I just have to listen to this sometimes and then move on. I'm getting to the end of the podcast today. Let me just see if there are some other things that I have in here that I've not even, watching.
Please be seated. Thank you.
So they're talking about Nnamdi Kanu's regaining his freedom in no distance future. I think they should. I mean, I think at this point in time, maybe they can just talk to, the Southeast is getting involved. Umahi and Governor Oti is also saying that now. And I think the Deputy Speaker also spoke to that effect. At some point, I think maybe they need to just get into some level of agreement. But any agreement they get to that does not involve rebuilding of the Southeast doesn't make sense. And I don't know if he has learned his lesson. It's just crazy that you have Southeast in the current position that it is.
The Deputy Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, right on.
Let me move on. These are just stuffs happening with respect to God. Let me see. I have some bookmarked stuffs in here. My favorite part of this movement is when Shehu Kibale, despite his professional commitment to neutrality, his body betrayed him by expressing the shock. Oh, I think I've seen this one.
Situation. So, for example, to fix Nigerian power situation.
So,
You went to Egypt.
thank you. So let me tell you
from them.
That's it. It took Egypt 5 years. So we're not going to fix overnight. But remember what I said. Nobody expects 100% success. They want 100% effort. If development.
But you're not criticizing Tinubu based on that. You're not. They're not criticizing Tinubu based on, nobody's expecting effort, success, you want effort. What will you do differently if you become the president of Nigeria today? What are you going to do differently? And that will be the question here. What will you do differently on the issue of power? Unfortunately, Obi wasn't able to articulate his
point.
points.
What you do, governance must be measurable. So if we decide, okay, we are now at 4,000. So we can decide, I'm only going to do 8,000. But annually, there must be improvement.
How would you do it?
How
would you fix power?
It's not rocket science.
It's very simple. It's very simple, okay?
Now,
no. How will you do it in Nigeria? Let's forget about Egypt, or let's forget about Bangladesh. Let's forget about Indonesia. How will you do it in Nigeria?
The 3 countries that improve power in the recent time, unless one did it yesterday, at the time I went to Egypt, were 3 countries in the world: India, Vietnam, and Egypt. And those are developing countries. So, governance is about learning from best practices. It is not rocket science.
So what do you feel? Have you identified why I'm over 40 and I've not, in my lifetime since I was born, I've not experienced constant electricity, and my children were born into a similar situation? The question is, have you identified what the problem is?
Yes, the problem is in failure of leadership.
That's the problem of electricity.
Everything. If you have a determined leader, he will learn, he will ensure implements it vigorously. Like the president announced that he's happy that the opposition is in crisis.
No, you're missing the point. He said, well, you guys should solve your problem, but if you can't solve your problem, then he's happy.
We'll go there and solve it. As governor of Anambra State, Shehu, you see me say it every day. Oju Zokari is there. He came to campaign for Uche Ekunife. I gave him the vehicles that took him to...
No. We're talking about power. Bro, you're bungling the question. What will you do differently about power? What the hell does Oju Zokalo have to do with power generation in Nigeria and campaign?
The campaign, when he finished, he came to my lodge, ate lunch in front of me, standing this way, Uche standing this way. He said he has come to campaign, that I've done well, Uche will replace me. And I was in that election. And when I go, they go say, oh, Peter, you're too weak. I said, I dare the people going to vote. When the people voted,
for example, to fix Nigerian power
Okay,
situation.
okay, that's that about that. Oh, so this is the tweet. Officials in Nigeria are ignoring and even facilitating the mass murder of Christians by Islamic jihadists. It is time to hold those responsible accountable. My Nigerian Religious Freedom Accountability Act will target these officials with powerful sanctions and other tools. Senator, stop these malicious, contrived lies against my country. We do not have a religious war in my country. The degraded Boko Haram terrorists operating on the fringe of Nigeria, Northeast, target everyone. They attack farmers and soldiers, the bandits in the Northwest, kill worshippers in their mosque. Christians are not targeted. We have religious harmony in our country. Stop this malicious lie. This is a sponsored script. It does not reflect the reality on the ground. Nigeria is degrading Boko Haram systematically, and the day is near. Okay, there is no mass murder of Christians in Nigeria by Islamist jihadists. There used to be. You are a liar. So what would happen? Just solve this security problem. I will not even wonder who is, because anybody killed, either Christian or Muslim, is an individual, is a human being. So I think we need to solve that problem. Let me see. Okay, let me go to this. What exactly is wrong with Peter Obi? Always choosing free ticket. Let me see.
I'm sure maybe you probably beg Tinubu to step down for Peter Obi in 2027 because
not at all.
But that's what you're saying invariably. I mean, a lot of people have asked, what is wrong with Peter Obi competing in an open campaign? So can't he go ahead and face ATIKU in an open primary? Because that's what some of the people against him normally say. That, you know, he wants everything to be done for him already and he just emerges. That he should go and campaign in an open campaign. And you said he has an impeachable record. People are saying against him. They are saying a lot of things against him. In his state, for instance, they are saying, you didn't turn the state into paradise. Some of the opposition figures against him say, you didn't turn the state into paradise when you were there. They are also talking about money that was kept in safe havens, although Mr. Peter Obi has come to explain himself on that, but these things keep coming up. They're also talking about his support for, groups and not be able to condemn activities of insecurity in the Southeast. A lot of people are also saying things like, oh, he didn't do as much as he claimed. He was also hypocritical in his time. So why is he being shielded? Why can't he be made to run in an open contest against Atiku Abubakar and the best man wins? Why are we begging everybody? That's why I say at this rate, maybe we'll probably beg Tinubu to also step down for him.
Oh, well, we'll see how that goes.
It is illogical to add Tinubu to the fray or to the table in this particular case, because what we have done is to identify Nigerians or leaders who have the compassion and the pulse of the people as a priority in their individual commitments.
So President Tinubu doesn't have the pulse of the people
that Tinubu
and the compassion.
No, I don't. With all due respect, I don't believe he's one. So that is why he's not in the equation.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Before now,
this guy does not know what he's talking about.
All the things that can be said every rot that can be put by opposition against a quality candidate. It's not the first time. Awolowo struggled almost the last quarter of his life.
Oh my God! Are we going to Awolowo?
Nigeria? Nobody gave him a chance. But
so he shouldn't go for primaries. What are you talking about?
When the man lay still in death, even the Ikemba of Inewi or Ikemba Inewi said, "Here lies the best president Nigeria never had."
They said that about Buhari. When Buhari went for the first, second, third, and the fourth, like, oh, if he didn't win this time, Buhari would have been the best president Nigeria ever had. We've seen that today. It's not different with Peter Obi. Okay? Okay? There are systems, there are rules, and there are reasons why there are rules. So you can't come and tell me that, oh, because they said, oh, who knows? I don't know. I don't know because he wasn't the president. But all this story of this would be the best president I ever had. I think that should have stopped with Buhari. When he came in with hope and change and then gave us nothing.
Even Jesus Christ, when it was, there was an option to choose between the rogue, the thieves in Jerusalem, and the Savior. They chose the thieves. So
but there was an election. There was an election, even in the case of Jesus. Okay, so again, I don't understand the perspective from which you're coming from. Just because your guy cannot win primaries.
Be freed and the Savior to be crucified. So we don't expect that Peter Obi will stand up for election and there will be no mudslinging or digging up of all kinds of materials to malign him. But like you said it yourself, Mr. Rufai, that he has come and explained it. And I'm sure you were satisfied when Mr. Obi explained that.
I don't think Rufai was satisfied. Let's just be honest. I don't think so. Boko Haram did not nominate Buhari as their mediator. Okay, yeah. I think we've spoken about that. Yeah, I think we've spoken about that. Yeah. Okay. Bubara is back. Bubara is back and it's been blowing hot. You know, now that he survived the impeachment that never happened, you know, he's blowing hard now. He's warning the secretaries that, the permanent secretaries. Yeah, let's see what happens. Oh, no volume. Okay, so these are no volume. Well, in short, they're just saying that it's going to go after all those top people, those top officials during the emergency rule that aided illegality. I'm still waiting on to see how it's going to do that. So we know what's happening in Abia State. So we have the Minister of Works, Senator Engineer David Umahi, representing President Buhari. So
I struggle with refuse to God makes all things beautiful. And we are witnessing beautiful things. Don't tell me stories about this Abba. I was here and I said it before. I was the young engineer that was in charge of Indegro flood control measures. So I lived here and I struggle with refuse to go to work. I struggle with, a flood to go to work. But today, the story has changed. Amen. And it's like pregnancy. You cannot, close it. So on behalf of Mr. President, and together with our leaders and commissioners, and Darlington, my good brother and friend, it is my pleasure, and with the strength of these mighty men and women that are with me, and on behalf of Mr. President, and deep appreciation of our dear Governor, Dr. Alej, I want to commission this beautiful road, done by direct name on Abia State government, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I think having Governor Oti in Abia State is a breath of fresh air. I don't even know what all those other PDP. That's why I'm not always, sad when PDP is like, who should be a main opposition, is getting himself messed up. Because I don't see what these guys did when they were in power. A lot of them as governors, and some of them now as senators. Okay? And that's just crazy.
This government taxes struggling citizens and small businesses heavily while indulging in extravagance. Billions are spent on new presidential jets, yachts, and luxury cars.
Okay, we've seen this one before. Let me see. Yeah, how do they think about this?
For Nigeria.
Okay, I've seen this. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, I think I've got to call it a day for today. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. Have a good one. Yeah, thank you.